last week we talked about easing into a clean, low-carb diet. Today we're talking about what happens when you go all in and how it shocked me. And yes, I will tell you about that little roadblock that almost stopped me before I began. Now, for a lot of women over 50 or a little higher, especially if you're dealing with real health concerns, going all in is the only approach that makes sense. And I have to start with the part that no one wants to believe, not until they've tried it, not until they felt it for themselves. When you stop eating sugar and stop eating ultra-processed foods completely, when you feed your body with protein and natural fat, the food it actually needs, you are never hungry. I am not pretending. You're simply not hungry. You're not trying to distract yourself or drink water to ride through the cravings wave. You're just not hungry. You're not out there hunting for a donut at 10. You're not dragging through the afternoon, sneaking a Snickers. You're not rifling through the cabinets in the kitchen looking for just a little something after dinner. One day you're going to realize you completely forgot to make supper because you just weren't thinking about supper because you just haven't been hungry. You stop thinking about food all day long. And this happens sooner than you think. I found it shocking, but it is real. And this is the biggest pro of going all in. When you cut out the addicting foods completely, cut out, not cut back, you normalize your hunger. Cravings fade to nothing. Food stops ruling your life. Now, I know going all in sounds harder and it does take some effort, but it actually simplifies everything. I enjoy what I think of as a capsule kitchen. You've heard of a capsule wardrobe? Hamburger, eggs, butter, an onion, some cream, some cheese. No cereal boxes, pancake mixes, 3 shapes of pasta, meal starters, pre-made sauces tumbling from my cabinets. Just real food in the fridge. Shopping is simple. Cooking is simple. Life is simple. And no, it's not boring. It's grounding. Oh, now I acknowledge that, especially in the beginning, you will still want your snacks. But that won't be from hunger. That will be from habit. And even that fades with time. And then something else happens. You realize you're better. Not 17 again, but better. Look, the truth is, I did not change my diet to heal my brain. I changed it to slow down the rate of my decline. But a few months after going all in, I suddenly realized I had actually improved. I wasn't getting lost. I wasn't leaving the stove burners on for hours. I wasn't struggling with basic daily tasks like what time to leave the house for an appointment. And yes, I did notice weight loss even before improvement. And that was a nice little bonus. I'm back to my high school weight. And I guarantee you, this would not have happened within, say, 4 months if I had eased in slowly. Not a chance. But now let's get to that tiny roadblock that nearly stopped me from even starting. Remember that? It is one of the downsides to going all in because, yes, there are a few, and they do matter. Well, first, there is a learning curve. Clean, low-carb eating is simple, but it's also new. And when you go all in, you suddenly notice how much you don't know yet. Like the many names of sugar, or what the heck is a seed oil anyway, and why should I care? And when and how to calculate net carbs. You know you should be reading labels, but what are you even looking for when you're looking at those labels? I remember thinking, here I am with the ingredient list. What does it mean? So It can feel like a lot at first. It did to me. Then suddenly it doesn't. Like tying your shoes. It's a lot to remember until it's mindless and effortless. Oh, but learning the terms and the calculations are nothing to the real challenge, deprogramming. Not just learning what to eat, but unlearning what we've been told to eat and not to eat all these many years. Decades of low-fat messaging, whole grains are heart healthy, red meat causes heart disease, eating eggs will raise your cholesterol, choose margarine, it's better than butter. Breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Eat 6 small meals for better metabolism. Going all in forces you to confront the fact that most of what we've been taught about food is dead wrong. So you have to change what you've always believed, and that is rough. When was the last time you changed your mind about anything, right? I know, exactly. We don't do it very often. So this part is tough. But if you can't change your mind about what's healthy and what's not healthy, then nothing else matters. And then there's the issue of tackling your kitchen. You cannot build a new way of eating in a kitchen stocked for the old one. One day in January, I took a trash bag and cleaned house. Every bottle, box, bag, jar from my old eating life, gone. I left the Mr. One Shelf in one cupboard for his snacks that he couldn't part with, but everything else gone. I couldn't go all in, surrounded by just-in-case foods. They're winking at me and tempting me. I'd be right back where I started. I have to get them out of the house. And then there's this. You must prepare for when you change your food beliefs, people notice. I remember the first gathering at my house after I'd started my clean, low-carb life. One of my sisters, she offered to bring lasagna. Oh, I could see the terror in her eyes. She was truly afraid of what weird food I might be serving. Weird like burgers and salad and vegetables. But she didn't know, and her fear was real. You'll navigate that too. And you'll navigate being the food weirdo everywhere else. You're skipping the break room birthday cake. You're passing on the bread basket. You're ordering that bunless burger. Oh yes, people notice. And they'll invite, persuade, tease, question, cajole, in part because your choices shine a quiet light on theirs and they won't like it. But you can't help that. You can't help it, but you'll feel it. After decades of fitting in, of being the, hey, pass the bread basket here first, girl, being the food weirdo can feel a little uncomfortable. But it is totally worth it. They just don't know it yet. And I admit it, I was no different. In addition to my nutrition ignorance and the mainstream food marketing lies before I began this diet, I was afraid too. I was afraid to face my food fears. Going all in asks for 2 hard things at once. 1, let go of your favorite foods. Buy smart food. And 2, become besties with foods you're pretty sure you won't like. Because if you did, you'd be eating them already, right? Some women fear living low carb means living on cauliflower dust and sadness. And this is where I finally admit my own fear. That little roadblock, why can't I say that? That little roadblock I mentioned at the start, my roadblock was eggs. I know, ridiculous, but some of you are nodding because some of you are not team egg either. Some of you are also not team egg. Scrambled? Only under duress. Over easy? Absolutely not. Sunny side up? The stuff of nightmares. Oh, but the more I studied clean low carb, the more I kept bumping into the truth. You cannot do this well without eggs. Not if you want hunger relief, steady energy, mental clarity, a calm brain in the morning. Oh, I tried to dodge them. In the beginning, before I truly understood the nutritional angle, I was making the keto pancakes and the chia pudding and the fathead dough bagels, everything except what my body needed. I was focused on the no carbs and not focused on the nutrition. I had to get over my egg aversion. I did this intentionally. I started with a dry, cheesy, dirty scramble, which evolved to my brown eggs, which is a recipe that I now shockingly love. And this recipe even converted daughter number 1, who obviously inherited my egg aversion because, duh, I raised her on instant oatmeal. It converted her to a brown egg lover too. Now, here's why this matters. Even if you love eggs, every woman has her egg. I mean, not literally, but every woman has one small thing she swears she simply cannot change. Her own tiny roadblock keeping her stuck. For me, it was eggs. For you, it might be your coffee creamers, or having to learn to cook, or the belief that you'll hate everything about this way of eating, so you're not even going to look. Your roadblock is smaller than you think. And once you step over it, everything else gets easier. So whether you ease in, I talked about that last week, or go all in, your job right now is to notice what is keeping you from starting. Identify that one silly, tiny roadblock and step over it, and everything changes after that. Okay, now speaking of that food that finally clicked for me, if you want to see exactly how I make that breakfast that broke my cravings and fed my brain, watch my video on brown eggs next, if I can find it. If not, it'll just be a video on how great eggs are.